Hey everyone, welcome. Today we are going to learn the particle system when the one basically which will spawn when I destroy this object. So we are going to learn to create this particle system, this one. So let's get started. So this particle system which I have already created is this one. Here I have a parent game object, and basically ignore this script, we don't need this. And inside the script, first of all, we have the basic cube that spawns when we hit an object, which is a simple square that scales. So let's look at the properties over here. The first one is the duration, and let's set this to 1. Then there is the start lifetime, meaning how long this particle effect will last. The speed, I have set this to 0, and I have set the 3D start size to 1, 0.25 and 1, which basically makes the object the size which you can currently see on your screens. Simulation space to world, and finally play on awake. And for the emission we have set it to 1, basically meaning we can only spawn one particle, and set the max particles also to 1. And after that, the property which we need is the color over lifetime, meaning it will start at full opacity and then basically fade away. And the size over lifetime will be this graph, which you can mimic, and basically you can create variations of this. So it will start at full size, then go up a little bit, and then gradually move to 0. And also I have enabled the collision. But for this first particle system, we actually don't need the collision, so you can disable it if you want to. And for the renderer, we have the mesh, we have the cube, which is a default sprite, and a default line material. So this mesh basically means that we will spawn the shape of a cube, which you can see. We can also use billboard, but if I use billboard, this will be a 2D sprite. We basically use billboard in 2D games and use mesh for 3D objects. And after that, our second particle system is basically a bunch of squares, and this one is really easy to create. You can play around with these properties to get effects of your choice. So the duration is basically 1. Start delay, meaning this effect will start immediately, and the particles that are going to spawn will have a random value between 0.5 and 2.5. This will be the lifetime, and this will be random between these two values. And the same goes for the speed, it will be random between 20 and 30, and also the size will be random. As you can see, some of the particles are big, some are small, and they get destroyed at different intervals. So these are the properties we use for this. And the reason they go down is because of the gravity modifier, and we have to set the simulation space to world if we want gravity to act on this. And after that, for the emission, we spawn 30 particles. We can increase the size of these particles if you want to. For the shape, we are using a hemisphere. You can choose any of these shapes according to your basic needs. And limit velocity over lifetime basically means that it will slow down the velocity as it's moving farther from the center. Then the size over lifetime is basically reduce the size gradually. Rotation over lifetimes means that the objects will rotate between an angle of 45 and 360. Collision means it will collide with other objects in the world. You can basically select different layers with which they will collide. And trails are basically these lines that are following the particle effects. And for the renderer, we are using a mesh, cube, and default line, and same is the one for the trail renderer, we are using default line. And these other particle systems are made exactly the same way, but only their properties are a bit different. So this is the whole particle system we get. It's a combination of a few particle systems. So it's really simple to create something like this by playing around with these properties. And I hope you guys enjoyed this really short tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one.